where the murders happened.
They didn't deserve this. They didn't do anything wrong.
Roland Camp and his brother Quentin in shock that their older brothers and dad are gone forever.
As soon as we learned about the deaths in the family, I instantly became the adult of the house.
After the deaths, I definitely tried to man up, but I found that I was more emotionally unstable.
I learned a lot about what happened that night from going to the trial.
Karina brought Roland and Quentin to the trial, and they sat through all the pictures and all the graphic details.
Nathan and Austin were killed on a vehicle similar to a golf cart. I picture my son's blood all over the back seats and all over the floor, and the brain matter splattered all over the place. That's where Tom's blood was. That's the steering wheel he was slumped over.
They would tell us ahead of time if there was pictures going to be shown or they were going to get graphic, and some would get up and leave. But Roland and Quentin felt that their mom would be upset if they got up to leave.
I went to the trial for my mom because I know that my mom couldn't handle it by herself. There's no other reason for me to be there. She cried very often during the trial, so the person sitting next to her, which is always Quentin or me, would always have to comfort her.
They would put their arms around her, play with her hair, try to relax her with their fingers in her hand and hold hands, and they would try to calm her down.
During the trial, we had to comfort my mom during her more emotional moments, like when we were going over the pictures.
When I see braces, I picture Nathan's teeth with his braces still connected laying in the mud. Before I go to sleep, I'll hear my son screaming for his life those last few moments. It's nightmarish.
Well, Karina, I'm glad to meet you and very sorry for the circumstance.
Thank you.
And let me tell you, words are just not adequate to tell you how sorry I am for your loss. As a parent, I can't even imagine what it's like to lose a child, and certainly to lose a child in such a sudden and violent way. I mean, that's the most traumatic thing a parent can go through. I mean, we know that from a psychological standpoint. So when I say I'm very sorry for your loss, that seems cliche. It seems easy to say, but I really have thought about what you've gone through. I've really tried to connect to that, and so it's very thoughtful when I tell you I'm really sorry for what you've had to go through.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And this has been such a horrific thing in your life. When I hear you talk about it on tape, it seems to me that when you talk about it, it's as raw and painful for you today as it was the first day you heard about it.
Oddly enough, it seems like it gets worse every day.
How do you cope with this? What is your strategy?
Initially, I wasn't able to really eat. And immediately after it happened, like for the first 6 months or so, I couldn't eat. And I started getting I started realizing that if I had a beer or two during the day, then it would settle my stomach and kind of calm me down a little bit. So I've been using beer and a little bit of alcohol pretty much daily to kind of get me through the day and kind of numb things for me.
Okay, so you're self-medicating with alcohol to numb the pain.
Yes.
This was your ex-husband, Tom,
yes,
that took the boys camping.
Yes.
And I've noticed that very pointedly, you blame Tom for this. Here's a quote from your Facebook. You said, "Tom, I truly loved you, but someday when I die, I'm going to destroy you for what you have allowed to happen to my sons. I hope you are ashamed of yourself, feeling the pain, and understand that you were at fault even more than Hudson. Hudson being the man that pulled the trigger that killed your children.